Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to day 2 of the OSBA Final 8 High School Championships alongside Joe D'Agostino, Anthony Guile in hand. And Joe, we saw 4 teams from the women's side go through yesterday, and today it's time for the men to take their turn. And today this morning we started off with the undefeated Orangeville Prep versus the 10-9 Rise Prep. Both teams kind of on the opposite sides of the spectrum this year, but anything can happen. We know any team could catch any team sleeping.
And I think for Rise Prep, you're going in, you were a 4-game losing streak before the play-ins against really tough teams, but you played them tough, and that's kind of been the story of Rise Prep all season. They've played hard against whether a team is bad, good, great. It doesn't matter to them. They always show at least some grit and some toughness every game, and they're going to need that and a lot more to beat Orangeville. But Orangeville is shorthanded in this game, so we'll see how maybe the first quarter goes. As it is an early start, these teams might not be used to playing this early.
And the ref having a problem with Darius's uniform already. They don't like the undershirt. And I guess that's the standard they're going to set here to start off. An interesting move here by Orangeville, playing small ball, having M.A. at the Matthew Alexander Moncrief at the center position here. And the tip is off and out of bounds right away, and it's going to go with Rise. Mason Krause to inbound here. Noah Schutte getting the start tonight.
I mentioned Mason Krause averaging 13 points this season. He's the guy that needs to step up this game, play really well on the offensive end.
An interesting move here by Rise Prep. Jefferson Monegro usually getting the start for them at point. Nice move inside. Trent Johnson with a clean look there, and he gets the scoring going here. Opens up the tournament with the 3. Trent Johnson leading Rise and scoring at 15.5 points per game. Matthew Alexander Moncrief trying to respond, and he does so. They're going to call that a 2. Krause to Schutte. Johnson. Schutte with another clean look. No good. Steps in the line. Can't hit the mid-range Jimmy, and Stuka comes down with it. Moncrief behind the back. Beautiful move, rejected. And they're going to looks like they're going to call a foul on Matt. Looks like they're calling that on Kazadi. Of course, Matthew Alexander Moncrief, one of 2 players on the All-OSBA team this year, first team, along with his running mate, Coleman Stuka. And then they also have Shamar Rathen-Mays on the second team as well this year.
And that's been really kind of the story for Orangeville all year. There's such a deep team, even at the top end with the tippy top of their talent. There's so many players capable of being a first or second team all-star.
Moncrief almost with the steal that time. Good hustle.
That's one of the reasons why he was a first team all-star, because on the defensive end he can cause some turnovers, disrupt your offensive rhythm.
And not only that, Joe, but in the month of February, he took his talents to Oklahoma State, committing to the Cowboys for next year. And I'm sure Oklahoma State is very happy to have this great 2-way player coming to their
They definitely seemed very happy on social media, and that's a testament to how great of a talent he is. When they knew that he was committed to them, they were excited because they knew what type of player he is.
Nice pass inside. Lorenzo Downey with the help. Great help that time, and it goes off the hands of Trent Johnson. Stewart tried to get in there in the post, just couldn't hit the hook.
And so far they've had 3 offensive possessions, the 3 at the beginning, and they've had good looks every single time. They just weren't able to capitalize on their last 2, but I think offensively it seems like Rise is getting the looks they want. They just got to finish.
Darius DeVario to Justice Prentice. Here's Stuka. Coleman going in strong and gets it to go off glass. Coleman coming in, leading the team in scoring at 21.2 points per game on better than 50% shooting from the field.
And I think Stuka, we look at him as a 3-point shooter. He can just go nuclear from behind the arc, but he can also drive to the basket like we just saw.
Nearly stolen that time. Johnson going baseline. Held up by Stuka. Stewart can't get the soft touch to go. Headbands are falling off. Krause gonna try his luck from straight on. Hits the back of the iron that time. Schutte guarded by DeVario. Johnson knifing through the D. Stewart up and under. Gets the roll that time. Tough basket, though, Joe.
Tough basket, but that was a nice look, and the the ball rolled the way they wanted to. And Rise Prep so far, I haven't seen a bad looks that they've taken in the first 3 minutes.
Stuka gets it to go straight on. Starting out 2 of 2 here today. Coleman Stuka picking up where he left off in the regular season.
And that's a great sign for Orangeville. You know that, playing an early game like this, they haven't played in a while because they earned that 1 seed, so they didn't have to go through the play-ins. For him to kind of get it going early, that's huge.
Kazadi to Kraus. Kraus stolen by Downey. Looked like it went off his foot, though, and it's going to stay with Rise. The Wolfpack having trouble getting to their offensive set here. Everything coming tough right now, specifically at the rim. Johnson trying to go to work there. Gets it to go over the outstretched hands of Matthew Alexander Moncrief. DeVario. Here's Downey. Guarded by Kazadi. Behind the back. Looking to break down his defender. Moncrief. Go right in the middle. Great defense that time by Stewart without fouling. Kazadi with the spin. Downey not letting him go by. O'Shuti back up top. Going to reset the offense here. Stewart calling for it. He has the mismatch. Wide open Kraus for 3. And he gets it to go from the corner. Mason Kraus opening up his field goal scoring here in the tournament.
And that was a fantastic fine cross-court pass, picture perfect, and the shot was the same.
M.A. back to Downey for 3. Heavily covered that time. (10-9) here. Just got past the 4-minute mark in the first quarter. Johnson. O'Shuti going in strong and try to throw it down on Downey. Moncrief back the other way. Short of the rim. Kraus going back the other way. Mason to Kazadi, and he's met at the rim. And he earned those 2 shots. I like the effort by Rise here so far this morning.
Yeah, I think if there's one way to wake yourself up, it would be an attempt like that and 2 free throws. Great start for Rise Prep offensively, and on the defensive end, they've been pretty solid on the inside. They've let Coleman Stuka get a couple shots that he's wanted, but so far so good for Rise Prep.
Kazadi good on the first. Jonam Kazadi coming in on the year, playing 17 games, averaging just over 9 points per game. He also leads the team in rebounding at 7.5. Goes 2 of 2 at the line that time. Downey looking for a screen from M.A. Gets it. Moncrief going up strong. Taking some tough shots right now. Rise making it hard for the Oklahoma State commit. They get the switch now. Downey. Kazadi has a mismatch now. Looking to go to work in the post. Poked away. Kraus for 3. Looked off when he released it. And back comes DeVario. Dribbles it off his knee. Fighting for the ball, and Rise comes away with it. They got numbers. Johnson to Kazadi. Can't bank it in. Late whistle. He's going to head to the line for 2.
And it just feels like Orangeville just hasn't found the rhythm yet offensively. A couple key turnovers that they made so far. You said it earlier on a couple possessions. It seems like they're forcing it a little bit, whether it's MA or a couple threes that maybe they took really early in the shot clock. They need to kind of find their groove and find their rhythm, especially when we mentioned with the early start time. It could be a little bit tough to kind of find that rhythm.
Joe, you got to think about it as well. Orangeville hasn't played in at least a few weeks here, but Rise playing in the play-in just a week ago.
And not to mention with some of those suspensions playing a little bit shorthanded, that means the rotation is a little bit different. You might be playing alongside guys that you haven't really been playing with throughout the season. So maybe trying to find themselves a little bit, trying to find out what works with the rotation that they have currently.
Stolen by Kazadi. Jonam Kazadi having himself a game so far. And they're going to call a charge on DeVario. Darius DeVario he's no stranger to this tournament, Joe. Last year, of course, part of that TRC team, winning back-to-back championships and moving on to Orangeville this year.
And you just love that hustle by DeVario. You force another turnover. You could think maybe they might give up on the play because of frustration, but instead zooming back on the defensive end, taking the charge, and just keeping yourself in it right now when you're still trying to find your way on the offensive end.
13-9. DeVario going in strong, can't scoop it in. Ochuti, who's earned himself a starting spot in this lineup. Noah finds Mason. Kraus going baseline, try to get it in there, but kickball violation.
And just a surprisingly low-scoring quarter for Orangeville. 4 minutes left, over half of the quarter, and only sitting at 9. It's just been a tough morning so far for him.
Kraus, got the quick first step that time. Everything but the finish. He's got to be kicking himself about that one. Moncrief. Stuka looking to add to his total. Can't bank it in that time. And there's M.A. and the foul. Matthew Alexander Moncrief putting a stamp on this tournament.
And those are the two guys that we just saw, Coleman Stuka and M.A. They're the guys that, if they're in a rut offensively, they need to be the ones to push it out, be aggressive on the offensive end. That was a good look for Stuka, just didn't go in, and it's a rare miss on a look like that. But M.A. was right there to pick up the pieces and get the and one.
M.A. completes the three-point play. He's got 5 now in this first quarter. Monegro to Stewart. Inside to Johnson, and he flushes it down with 2. For Rise to have a chance, Trent Johnson has to play his best tonight. Prentice, inside, draws the foul. Prentice on the year. 3rd leading scorer on this team, just under 13 points per game. And with Shamar Rath and Mays, of course, out due to suspension. You look for him and Darius DeVario to step up in the backcourt tonight.
And
today.
They have to. they have to step it up, and they're going to have to step it up if not only if they win this game, the next game as well. So this is going to be maybe a little bit tougher of a tournament for Orangeville than maybe they thought 2 or 3 weeks ago, but nothing's a given, as you can see with this score. Rise Prep, they came to play, and you know, with it being the Final 8, there are no bad teams here in this tournament. Every single team in this tournament has a shot to make a run, and so far in this first quarter, we're seeing why.
Mason Kraus to inbound now. Jefferson Monegro is checked in now for Rise Prep here. Trap coming. And a travel immediately on Jefferson Monegro. That's not the way you want to start here as soon as you come into the game. Darius to inbound. Of course. Dyson Frank into the game now. Euro step by Prentice. Can't bank it in. Back comes Monegro. Jefferson pulls back. Good transition defense by Orangeville. Stewart. Back up top to Monegro. Looking to reset the offense here. Johnson guarded by M.A. They got to get a shot off here. Jefferson going in strong with the floater. Great defense that time. I'm going to call a foul on Kraus.
Foul number 2, Mason Kraus. That's his first personal foul. Team foul number 5. With that foul, Rise is in the penalty.
I just want to say I beg your pardon for the viewers watching here. I got Jefferson Monegro confused with Cole Scott, of course, calling a lot of TRC games this year. Same number and
same jerseys.
Both playing in the same arena. I apologize. I will not do that the rest of the tournament. But regardless, Cole Scott usually would get the start for Rise, and Noah Schutte earning himself a spot in that starting lineup as the season wound down.
And I think for Cole Scott, he's kind of one of those guys that might be an X factor. I think every game we always mention how deceptively quick he is. You think that, you know, you have him contained and then he can just zip right down the court and get maybe a good look. So he's a guy that you should definitely be watching out for, especially coming off the bench.
Kraus bounce pass to Johnson. Manette. Stewart couldn't hold on to the ball. DeVario. Orangeville looking for a call here. 1 second on the shot clock. They got to shoot. And Cole Scott unaware of it.
Violation, Orangeville prep ball.
Not a great possession that time by Rise.
You can see Scott and Stewart, they were kind of going back and forth there. So he had to get the shot up, but Cole Scott, I'm pretty sure he thought that they might have lost possession and regained it back, which would have reset the shot clock, but it was pretty close, and it seemed like that was the right call.
Luke Grace on the floor now for Rise. Taking out Rory Stewart. Here's Moncrief with that quick first step. Can't bank it in. A lot of those shots for MA so far this morning have been going in and out. Scott. Over to Kraus. Gets the switch. Stuka on him. Kraus got to put it up. Knifes through and gets rejected by MA at the rim. Can't float it in. DeVario pushing the pace. Prentice, give and go. DeVario, foot on the line. He gets it to go for two.
In Orangeville, they're starting to pick up some steam on offense. They still missed a couple of gimmies, but they finally have the lead. And Rise is starting to struggle to
Backcourt
get in the
violation.
half-court set.
Mason Kraus not aware that time. Foot was behind the line.
On the floor.
Timeout coming here for Rise. We're going to take our first break of the morning so far. You're watching the OSBA Final 8 High School Championships. Welcome back to the OSBA Final 8. Listening to Anthony Gao, Joe D'Agostino beside me here. 18-15 so far. Orangeville has a 3-point advantage. But it doesn't seem like anything's coming easy this morning for both teams here in the first quarter. Might be due to rust, but we'll see how this final 90 seconds go. Frank. Nagandu kicks it out. Great ball movement here by Orangeville, leading to the open. Prentice for three. That was beautiful, Joe.
That was the best possession they've had this entire first quarter. They just got everyone to touch the ball, and a turnover on the other end. This is starting to kind of go Orangeville's way, and for Rise Prep, you have to cool this game down a little bit. You don't want it to run away from you after you had such a great start in those first 5 minutes.
Tariq Clark couldn't handle the ball that time, but I thought it might have tipped off his hands, but Rise is going to get the ball. Cole Scott to inbound. Scott to Johnson. Kraus. Grace wanted the ball, goes for the pick instead. Wow, great defense right now being displayed by Orangeville. Johnson almost got that long range one to go. DeVario outlet pass. And Johnson playing the passing lanes that time.
And that was a great kind of disruption of that fast break. Let them start their half-court set, and Orangeville's dangerous when they get their half-court set, but I think they're even more dangerous on the fast break.
There he is, class of 2021. Prentice going in strong. What a pass. Frank for three, gets it to go, he rattles it in. Tyson Frank on the board. Class of 2020, 6'8" forward. Stolen by Nagandu, but him and Frank ran into each other. A little miscommunication that time on the defensive end. Johnson. Kraus for 3. Can't unlock the chamber. Hit 1-3 earlier in the quarter, but has gone cold ever since. Tiverio steps back, finds Prentice coming off that 3-point shot. They can hold for the final shot here. Looks like that's what they're planning on doing. Darius to Frank for 3. 2 in a row for Dyson Frank.
What a just fiery start, or a fiery end, I should say, to this first quarter for Orangeville Prep. It was a close game, and now all of a sudden it ballooned to 12 points.
You're watching the OSBA Final 8 High School Championships. Stick around for second quarter action. Welcome back. Second quarter action underway here. Orangeville with a statement run there near the end of the game, near the end of the first quarter, I should say. Nagandu missing the baby hook that time. And Trent Johnson leading Rise Prep with 7 points, and Moncrief has 7 along with Dyson Frank, who leads all scorers with 8 points. Oh, what a floater by Liam Craven that time. The soft touch off the glass.
Yeah, that was a great shot. That was a tough shot, but it was a great one. And this is, I think, a quarter that Rise really needs to win. You can't look at this game as just a totality here. Just take it quarter by quarter. Right now, you're +2 in the second. They have to finish this quarter and start this quarter strong.
Looks like they're going to call 3 in the key that time. Looked like Nagandu was in there a little bit too long. Try to dump it off to Moncrief. But I thought, Jeff, when he's that low in the post, he's really taller than anyone on the court right now. I think he should just go up with it. Ochuti to take it up now for the Wolfpack. Craven. Screen coming. Ochuti tied up. Stewart going to try his luck from the corner. No good that time. Remains a 10-point game. Prentice. Alley-oop to Frank, and he throws it down with 2. Dyson Frank is all over the court right now.
Yeah, he has been the complete difference maker in this game so far. Those 2 threes near the end of the first. Now this alley-oop slam just continuing to build this momentum for Orangeville that they gain off a turnover here.
Prentice lays it in easily, and Frank on that last bucket, the first player in double digits here. 10 points. Craven. Ochuti. Boy, Orangeville is playing the suffocating defense. This is a big reason why they're 19-0. Craven, no good. Rebound. And Stewart's going to head to the line for 2.
Great extra effort there to get that second chance opportunity. And they might need a lot of those in this game because, like you mentioned, that suffocating defense, they're closing out real fast. And maybe the best opportunities in the paint is going to be coming off of offensive rebounds.
Lorenzo Downey coming back into the game, giving MA his first rest of the morning. Stewart good on the first.
And this was such a quick turnaround in this game. It felt like in the first 5 or 6 minutes, Rise Prep was playing really well. They were getting the shots that they wanted, and just the snap of the fingers. This team is so deep, and there's so many players that can impact the game in a multitude of ways. And Orangeville now, just with a 12-point lead in it, it feels like they really even played really well.
Downey, the man went under the screen. I don't think he'll miss that two times in a row. Frank. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Darius, one step in the line. Hits the back of the iron, too strong. Downey. Ochuti gonna pick up DeVario. Mismatch, jump shot. Gets it to go from the mid-range.
Darius DeVario.
33-19, 2.5 minutes into the second quarter. Ochuti to Craven. A little too aggressive that time by Darius.
Foul on number 1, Darius DeVario. That's his
There's 2 team fouls already on the Bears.
Substitutions coming in for
Of course, want to congratulate Tony McIntyre, head coach of the Orangeville Prep Bears, leading his team to 19-0, earning him the Coach of the Year. Well deserved.
And I don't think there's really much debate you can make. When you don't lose a single game, I think you better be winning Coach of the Year. And it's, like you said, well deserved. Just he has such a great team, and he coaches them really well. They play strong, and they play disciplined. And, you know, when you have a collection of talent like this, it doesn't just come so easy. You still have to make them play together, and that's exactly what Tony McIntyre has done this year.
Well, the thing about Tony is that last year, he could have won the award too. They went 19-0 as well. And it obviously went to Tyrell Vernon, who had as Lorenzo Downey hits the three-point shot, and Lorenzo Downey knows something about Tyrell Vernon. Of course, he was on TRC last year, coached by Tyrell Vernon, the eventual champions. And regardless if Tony didn't win it last year, he was one of the best coaches in the OSBA. He has been one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in the OSBA for years, and now getting that recognition this year as Rory Stewart hits a three.
Yeah, and that was a much-needed three by Rory Stewart. He's taken a couple of those, and they just seemed off, but it was a good look. He's got to make him pay for that if they're going to leave them open like it.
Oh, what a find. That was a beautiful pick and roll that time, ending with Nagandu's two-hand flush.
And since that 4-minute mark in the first quarter, everything is coming so easy for Orangeville, and it's predicated off of great teamwork, moving the ball, setting proper screens, and making the right decision as a turnover for Rise Prep.
You're talking about setting proper screens, an illegal screen that time, leading to a turnover.
That's Rory's first personal foul, team foul number 1.
6:09 remaining in the half, 38-22. The Bears have separated themselves here a bit in the second quarter, playing at their pace. Downey up top, gonna take the long-range three. Lorenzo Downey rattles it in. And the thing is, Tariq Clark was playing great defense that time, but even better offense by Lorenzo Downey. 41-22. We're gonna take a quick break here. You're watching the OSBA Final 8. Welcome back to the OSBA Final 8 High School Championships, Game 1 of our men's quarterfinals here at Ryerson University, aka the Mattamy Athletic Center, the old Maple Leaf Garden, some would call it still. Of course, another great host for us here. Last year at the Coca-Cola Court, we saw TRC win it all, and Crestwood ladies win it all last year. Hoping for another great finals this year. As Stewart hits another three. Rory Stewart talking a little bit too as he's coming back down the court. Despite it being a 16-point lead, Rory Stewart saying nobody can guard him on Orangeville, but we'll see about that as Prentice steps back. No good that time. Stewart comes down with the rebound. I'm going to call it travel on him. 41-25. Prentice takes it up top, guarded by Craven. Darius DeVario. An illegal screen that time by Justice. Prentice picks up the violation.
And that's going to be what Rise Prep needs a little bit in this game. They're going to need Orangeville to kind of shoot themselves in the foot at times. And, you know, a turnover here, if Rory Stewart can kind of continue to get it going on the offensive end, get Trent Johnson some good looks, that's going to be the way that they can crawl out of this big lead.
Ochuti. Johnson, who had a hot start in this game. Stewart with the ball. Hands it off to Craven. Nice find inside. Kazadi met at the rim. And Downey picks up the foul. 2 shots coming for Jonah Kazadi.
And I think what's been really impressive for Rise Prep in this game, they are moving the ball well. Even though they've been playing, Orangeville's been playing fantastic defense, and I think that's kind of why they started to struggle near the end of the first. But they're still moving the ball well. They're trying to get a good look, and just sometimes you play great defense, and when you have the talent that Orangeville has, it's going to be tough. But I am impressed with the way Rise Prep is kind of attacking this game.
Well, I've been impressed with Rise most of the year. Of course, we mentioned Tony McIntyre earlier, but Mario Celebri, head coach of Rise Prep, doing a good job in his first year as the head coach of Rise, leading his team to an above 500 record and into the OSBA playoffs.
And even though they don't have those substantial wins against some of the best teams in the OSBA this year, I said it earlier in the broadcast, they've played everyone extremely tough. And sometimes when you have a young team or you have a team that you know maybe hasn't been able to get over the hump yet, that's kind of maybe the ingredients you need. Just play tough against these good teams. Learn how to be close in those games, and then eventually you'll be able to learn how to win against those great teams.
Nigandu hands off to Prentice. Stuka back on the floor now. Darius scooping it in. Can't get it to fall. Ochuti to Craven. Liam drops the shoulder, and that's an obvious offensive foul. See Mason Krause come into the game now for Liam Craven. Jalik Dunkley distant into the game now as well. Moncrief can't hit the wide open jump shot that time. And Kazadi comes down with it. Krause racing up the court, thought about pulling up with the hesitation. Stewart for 3 again. Stewart hits another 3. Rory Stewart has hit 3 of those in this quarter. Big man showing his range here today.
Yeah, and he's keeping them in this game.
Inside to Moncrief. And earns his shots that time. He's going to head to the line for 2.
Rory Stewart, you mentioned, he's averaging around 9 points a game. He's got 9 in this quarter. And sometimes that's when you're playing a team like Orangeville, we can continue to gush and praise about how great they are, but that's what you're going to need in a game like this. You're going to need some of those guys who maybe average 8 or 9 or 7, maybe to average 14 or 15 to get you that win. It's not just going to be a one-man show to beat them. You're going to need multiple players to come up and step up in a big way.
And M.A. going over 2 at the line that time.
That was a rough second free throw, maybe thinking a little too hard in his head about that.
Not a great free throw shooter. I'm sure M.A., if there's anything in his game he'd like to improve, it's that free throw percentage. Only at 54% on the year. Krause is stolen by Moncrief. MA driving in strong and somehow gets it to go. What an acrobatic layup and the foul.
Yeah, that was a fantastic finish. And MA, he is a fantastic player, and you mentioned his free throw percentage. It's not good, but that's almost exciting in a sense because, you know, he can still grow so much as a player, and with the way he plays, and he's so electric driving to the basket, and if he can continue to polish his game more and more, he's going to be dangerous moving forward.
And he rattles in the extra point. 44-28. 3:23 to go in the game in the first half, I should say. Moncrief almost got a clear lane, gets it back, and lays it in. Everything going right now for MA.
Yeah, it's such a demoralizing couple possessions for Rise Prep as they almost turn it over again.
Johnson, should have been a charge. I'm going to call a block. Looked like Stuka was in the perfect position that time to take the hit.
And what's even worse is if they called if they called nothing there, they had a turnover anyway. So it looked like it was either going to be a charge or a turnover, but instead, a couple of free throws for Rise Prep.
Shooting 2, Trent Johnson.
Johnson good on the first. Goes 1 of 2 at the line that time. Darius pushing the pace here. Dunkley distant. Moncrief coming off that three-point play. Good on-ball defense by Kazadi to cut him off. Darius going to try his luck from deep, no good. And Kazadi comes down with the rebound. Kraus pushing the pace. Mason, no call on the play that time. And a three-point play for Oshudi. Coach McIntyre wants to talk it over. 46-32, 2:41 remaining in the half. We'll be right back.
On the floor.
Back here with 2:41 remaining in the half. Orangeville on top of Rise Prep 46-32 in game 1 of our men's quarterfinals here at the Coca-Cola Court, the Mattamy Athletic Center. Darius gets the screen from Frank. Dunkley distant for 3. Too strong that time, and Stewart comes down with the board. Outlet pass to Kazadi, intercepted by DeVario. Intercepted back the other way to Kraus. Kraus, great footwork, and Johnson gonna head to the line for 2.
Mason Kraus, I feel like it's like 3 or 4 possessions in a row, mid-shot, just dishing it to one of his teammates.
I think Rise should be a little thankful that the refs haven't called more charges here.
Yeah, I think 2 possessions in a row, they called the block, and then they had the no call. Obviously, you know, it could have gone either way, but, you know, Rise will take what they can get right now, especially down 14, now 13. They need to I think if they can close out this second quarter strong here, kind of maybe get it back to 12 or 10 or maybe even double or single digits, that would be a huge momentum booster going into halftime.
Well, they've cut it down to 12 points now with just over 2 minutes remaining in this first half. Orangeville's scoring is not as prevalent as it was at the start of the quarter when they went on that run. Stuka nearly stolen. Frank. Darius DeVario, the zone being implemented now by Rise. Blocked by Kraus. They get it back. Stuka's got to let it fly. almost got it to go in off the glass. And Moncrief there to clean it up, and he's going to get a chance at an extra point.
And what a just absolutely deflating possession for Rise Prep. You play perfect defense, you get the block, he almost got the lucky shot, and then a foul on the plays.
Technical foul being called as well.
Rory Stewart, that's his second personal foul, team foul number 5. There's also a technical foul, number 15, Rory Stewart.
Rory Stewart getting called for talking a little bit too much here, and that's not a foul you can afford to have here, especially being down by a significant amount against this Orangeville team.
And I think it comes into just how deflating that possession was. Like I said, just great defense. You get the block. It looked like there was going to be a shot clock violation. They still get it off. It almost goes in, and then you can't get the board. Give up the and one. Just so much happening there in favor of Orangeville. It has to be frustrating if you're Rise Prep.
And now a free throw coming and possession here. Stewart going to take a seat here. Luke Grace coming in. And Moncrief gets the extra point to go. Schutte. Guarded heavily by DeVario. Johnson to Kraus. He's got a lane here. Great patience that time by Mason Kraus. Beautifully done. 49-36. Approaching a minute to go in the first half. Screen from Frank. Darius for 3. Darius too strong that time, and Moncrief comes down with the offensive board. Dyson Frank, a clean look that time, in and out. Grace comes down with it, and here comes Ochuti, pushing the pace. Ochuti got his own shot back, loses the ball midair, jumps up, and still lays it in.
Yeah, that was almost a circus shot, the way he grabbed it up in the air like that after he lost it.
Just like they drew it up, eh, Joe?
Yep, that's exactly how they drew it up.
Dunkley distant to DeVario. They can go for a 2-for-1 here. Looks like Coach McIntyre wants them to take their time. Moncrief pulls up. Short that time. Kazadi comes down with it. Kraus. Ochuti for 3. In and out. Had a chance to cut it within single digits. Darius going to slow it down now. They have a chance to take the last shot of the quarter. DeVario, strong scoop layup, can't bank it in, but he earns himself 2 shots at the line.
And I think that was a mistake by Rise Prep to take that shot so early in the shot clock. You had an opportunity to cut it to single digits, and at worst go into halftime down 11. You gave Orangeville another possession, and I think with the team as great as Orangeville is, you want to cut as many possessions as you can. And, you know, it was a good look, but I do think if you held it, you could have maybe got into your set, run a good play, and, you know, maybe get a basket and cut it within 9.
Darius doesn't get to the line too often, but when he does, he is not a great free throw shooter, under 60% on the year. And that time he hits 1 of 2 at the line. 12-point game, 5 seconds to go. Ochuti pulling up for 3, well short that time. And that'll do it for the half. 50-38, Orangeville leads Rise Prep. You're watching the OSBA Final 8 High School Championships. Stick around for second half action. Welcome back. Second half action here. 12-point lead for Orangeville Prep. Rice start to come on near the end of that half, Joe, but Orangeville, of course, with their championship experience, fighting it off, and a lot of contact there. They're going to call a charge. Joe, thoughts on the first half?
Well, in that first quarter, the plus-minus differential for Orangeville was 12, which tells us that in that second quarter, it was dead even. Both teams scored the same amount of points, so that tells me Rise kind of got a little bit more of a better flow in that second quarter. In that first quarter, they played well in the first half, but they kind of let the game slip away from them near the end. So I think Rise has played well. They're keeping themselves in this game, and if it's the fourth quarter with 6 minutes left and you're down by 10, like, that's not a bad position to be in against Orangeville. So just continue to keep yourself, keep pushing, playing hard. Rory Stewart, what a great first half for him, 13 points, a guy who averages 9 a game. So, you know, get some more guys involved, a guy like Trent Johnson, Mason Krause, and I think they'll be okay, and they'll be able to give themselves a fighting chance.
Good point, Joe. And Rise, they just got to keep fighting. I think more so than on the offensive end, they just got to hold. Easier said than done. They got to hold Orangeville and go on a run of their own here. Leading all scorers in that first half was Matthew Alexander Moncrief with 15 points. A quiet 15 points, really. It didn't really seem like he had that many points, but 5 of 11, pretty good percentage going into the half.
Yeah, and we were even talking about it during the halftime break that, you know, MA, he wasn't having the greatest first half, but we kind of both knew it doesn't feel like he's having a great first half, but you know he's still going to have some solid numbers on the score sheet because it's just impossible to really shut him down the entire game, and we saw it on that play right there. What a great finish by MA.
Right on cue, Joe. Moncrief up to 17 points now. Good ball movement, and Clark can't get it to go high off glass. Krause stolen by Moncrief. Fighting for the ball, and DeVario comes away with it. Prentice bounce pass to Stuka with a two-hand flush.
Yeah, rough start for Rise Prep here. Couple turnovers, some looks that they maybe need to take advantage of, especially when you're so close inside the paint, and Orangeville's defense has been suffocating the entire first half and continuing on here in this third quarter.
Johnson to Stewart. Hit 3 threes in that second quarter, and Johnson with a nice hook down low in the paint. Prentice, great body control in the air, and Stewart trying to claim that he had his hand straight up, but foul regardless, and Prentice will head to the line for 2.
And you mentioned that this could become, for Rise Prep, it needs to become a game of runs for them. It's not easy going back and forth with Orangeville because they're so great defensively, but you need to do more than just going back and forth with them at this point. You're down 14. You're going to need to go on a 6-0 run, 8-2 run, something significant like that to really kind of close the gap in this game. And I think they're capable of it because they've gotten some solid looks this game, throughout the entire game. It's just kind of maintaining it throughout long stretches of time.
And Rory Stewart on that previous play picked up his 4th foul of the game already. Cole Scott into the game early.
And that's the last person you want to get into foul trouble now because he has been their best player.
Stewart coming for the screen. Gets a wide open look here. Can't continue his hot streak from beyond the arc. Prentice got caught traveling that time, and he knew it. A little indecisive.
Just that slight hesitation is all it takes.
Krause inbound to Ochuti. Mason guarded by Prentice. Off-ball screen coming now. They got to get it off. Krause fading away. Hit the rim. No, they're saying it hit the side of the backboard. Shot clock violation. 15-point lead here, 7:36 to go in the third quarter. And Orangeville has really got a grip on this game. Downey over to DeVario. Gets the switch. Moncrief going to try his luck from the outside. Missed everything that time, but there's Prentice going up and under and getting the offensive rebound in the putback. Screen coming now. Ochuti with a nice hesitation dribble. And it looks like he stepped out of bounds that time. Not aware of his surroundings on that particular play.
And it's just been kind of that kind of start in this third quarter for Rise. Just a lot of turnovers, shooting really late in the shot clock, not getting great looks. They've had a couple decent spots inside the paint where Trent Johnson was able to make a basket, and it's just been kind of a nightmarish third quarter.
Nice pass inside. Moncrief just couldn't handle the pass and turns it over that time. You can just feel the deflation out of Rise right now. The crowd isn't into it either, and they were down 12 at the half, and now just like that, they're down 17. Cole Scott being guarded heavily by Downey. Scott, one of the faster players in the OSBA, gets around Stewart and gets the roll. Prentice. Of course, whoever wins this game will face whoever wins the last game of the day, that 4 o'clock game between TRC and Father Henry Carr, which will be a very entertaining game. Both those teams evenly matched as Moncrief goes baseline and hits it off the glass. Scott down to Johnson. Nearly stolen that time. DeVario not afraid to reach here. Ochuti, crossover, step back. Can't hit the shot, falling down. Justice, nice pass to Stuka. Can't get the acrobatic layup to go, and Kraus keeps it in. Scott slowing down the pace here for Rise. 59-42. Coming up on the halfway mark of the third quarter. Kraus, baseline. Gets held up, and they're going to call a travel on Mason Kraus. A lot of turnovers here for Rise Prep. Really not a flow on either end of the floor.
And I think we have to give credit to Orangeville there, because just the way that they play defense, they suffocate you. They play tough on every possession. And when you play like that and you can't get the looks that you want, you start kind of forcing things, overthinking things. That causes maybe too many steps, maybe stepping on the boundary line. That's what we've been seeing in this third quarter, and I think it's all credit to Orangeville.
Poked away, but it's going to stay with the Bears here. And just a reminder, our next game coming up at around the 12 o'clock mark. If the game ends on time, we're going to have one of the most anticipated matchups of really the whole year. You got Crestwood Prep facing the number 2 seeded Bill Crothers. Of course, Bill Crothers got a bye this past week after a resounding finish to the season, Joe. We were there down in just down the street really at Central Tech for that Bill Crothers and Central Tech game, and they needed that win to have a chance at the number 1 seed, and they ended up going undefeated the rest of the year.
Yeah, Bill Crothers, they played like a championship caliber team to close the season, and if it's maybe that team in white that we're watching right now and Bill Crothers in the finals, I don't think anyone would be surprised, but still a lot of game left in this game and a lot of tournament left. Anything can really happen.
And for the next game, Joe, there's a lot of star power on that floor. We got Kobe Elvis, Elijah Fisher, Tyson Dunn, a defensive artist. I guess it's the right words to say about him. Finishing second in the voting this year in the OSBA Defensive Player of the Year. And of course, you got Trey Thomas too. And just to add, 3 of the top 4 scorers in the OSBA will be featured in the next game. So expect a lot of baskets. But of course, we got a game going on right here, 61-44. Orangeville is really taken over this game, and the lead has ballooned to an excess amount as Downey looking to add to it, and he does. Straight on 3, Lorenzo Downey extending the lead to 20.
And Rise needs an answer quick. They're letting this game really fall away from them, and we know that they play tough every single game, but sometimes it's just too much, and they got to figure something out fast.
Stewart held up there, and it comes in the hands of the Orangeville player. Prentice, alley-oop to Moncrief. Somebody get that rim in Advil.
You gotta be kidding me. What a fantastic transition play by Orangeville, and this lead is starting to completely get away from Rise Prep.
66-44, 3:58 to go. It's been all Orangeville. We'll be right back. Welcome back here, 66-44, and wow, Joe, we just saw a man fly through the air and give that room a bit of problems, to say the least.
And I think it was almost as nice of a pass as the finish. Just what a special team that Orangeville is. They can just make everything look electric and flashy and exciting, and they're such a disciplined team. They can beat you in so many ways.
And it just seems that they're playing so loose out there right now. Stewart got hit in the face that time, and Moncrief going up strong with it. Ochuti, quick first step there, gets it to go over Alexander Moncrief. Prentice, Downey for three, no good. Stuka going in strong on the offensive board, draws the foul and one.
And look how fast they get down the court. You're up by 22 points, and you're still pushing the pace, trying to get quick open looks, and that's exactly what they've gotten. And you know, Coleman Stuka, he's kind of had a quiet game today, and he probably at this point has maybe 12 or 14 points.
Yeah, they're up by a good amount, but they're not letting up at all. They're keeping their foot on the gas here.
And this is a short-handed Orangeville Prep team. And Rise Prep, they are not a team that you have to just consider, you know, maybe below average team. They're a Final Eight team. They're a great team. And, you know, the way that they're playing right now, Orangeville, this is just exciting for them and maybe a little worrisome for any team that might have to face them moving forward if they can keep this lead and move on to the next round.
Scott intercepted that time by Lorenzo Downey. Coleman Stuka, DeVario. A lot of unselfish play right now from Orangeville, and Stuka finishes it off from the corner. They're just adding insult to injury right now. They're dissecting this Rise Prep team on both ends of the floor, Joe. Cravin. Crossover on Moncrief. Ochuti trying to make something happen, but there are no driving lanes right now. Scott, crossover, knifing through, gets it to go over the outstretched hands of M.A. Stuka. Moncrief. Oh, what a strong move! Right down the lane with the one-handed hammer. Scott with the ball up top now for Rise. In jeopardy of becoming a 30-point lead here. Scott can't hit the fadeaway. DeVario to Prentice. No good, but the tip in by Downey. What a display of athleticism there.
Orangeville just can't do anything wrong right now. Everything is coming exactly the way they wanted, and now a 27-point lead.
DeVario, extra pass to Stuka. M.A., strong move inside. Matthew Alexander Moncrief, just so long and strong.
And just gets to the paint so fast. Like, he just takes a couple pump fakes, catches you reaching, and then boom, he's right into the paint and with a wide open look.
Ochuti, blocking foul there. Looked like DeVario flopped a little bit there. 1:12 to go in the third quarter, 80-51. Orangeville has done what they've done most of the year, really, here today.
Yeah.
They've blown out most. There are teams that give them some problems, but throughout most of the year, Joe, they've been blowing out teams by 30 points or more,
and it almost
over 20.
It just felt like a tornado just kind of hit this third quarter. It was a 12-point lead to start the third. It didn't feel like Rise Prep was losing by too much. It was around 16-17, around the 7-minute mark, and just like that, just so fast. They hit you with such a quick flurry of offense, and whether it's through the fast break and turnovers or just hitting a couple threes in a row, they are just so hard to stop because their runs are almost impossible to contain.
To me, it felt like the first half was a warm-up for them. Like I said, like we mentioned multiple times in the broadcast already, that they had the bye week. Obviously, that's beneficial to get your players rested up, but at the same time, you gotta expect to be rusty, right? So through that first half, Orangeville looked like they had spurts of greatness, but you see going into the halftime, Tony McIntyre making the proper adjustments, and in this second half showing why they're 19-0 on the year.
Yeah, you mentioned it's the bye week, a 10 a.m. start, you know, not the rotations you're used to. A lot was kind of going against Orangeville, like, to start this tournament, but an unbelievable response in this third quarter to pull away from Rise Prep, and it's going to take a miracle if Rise Prep wants to keep themselves in this game.
And the scary thing is for the next team that will face Orangeville is that Kyler Filowich is coming back. Rathan Mays and Alex Nawalga will be out for another game, but to get a very talented big man like that back in the rotation, adding just another body to what's really a short bench there is just scary for any team that has to face them. Obviously, it's going to either be Henry Carr or TRC, which both teams are up to the task of facing Orangeville, but boy, oh boy, I wouldn't want to face these Bears in the playoffs.
And this isn't a discredit to Rise Prep, because you can say this about any team that can't finish the first round with a win. The longer you get in this tournament, the better the competition's going to get, because only the best of the best are going to continue to move on, move forward. So, Kyle Filowich, he's a guy that they will need in the next round if they can close this game out. And it's going to be, I think, a tougher tournament than I think a lot of people think for Orangeville. I don't think that they're just a gimme to win the championship because they're 19-0. There's a ton of fantastic teams that can give them problems, and whether it's TRC or FHC, it should be a good second round. And
Joe, I'll tell you this right now. Last year, everyone had the same sort of thoughts about Orangeville. Yes, they lost one game last year. They were 18-1 as opposed to 19-0. But everyone thought Orangeville, they can't be beat. And of course, they got beat by Thornley in the semifinals. So any team, I said at the start of the broadcast, any team could catch any team. One player can go off and have a hot game, and the other team could just be missing shooting or whatever the case may be. You get my point. The fact of the matter is that Orangeville last year was more of an inside-out team. This year, they're more of an outside-in team. And it's a different playing style, but you can make the argument that last year's team was better than this year's team. So anything could happen. There's more parity in the OSBA this year. But that's the end of the third quarter, 80-55. Orangeville leads Rise Prep. Stick around for fourth quarter action. Welcome back here. OSBA Final 8 High School Championship quarterfinal action. And it's been all Orangeville here so far. I really want to say tonight, we're so used to calling so many games in the evening, but just realizing that it's still not 12 o'clock in the afternoon yet, and it's 80-55 for Orangeville. Final quarter of the opening game. Of course, we still got 3 more games to go here during the day, but if you're Rise, Joe, what do you do right now? Do you play for pride, sort of? You had a great year. You still were above 500. How do you want to close out this? See, there's still lots of time to go, but I think we all realistically know how good Orangeville is.
But realistically, like you said, this is just a massive deficit for whether it's Rise Prep Bill Crothers, Crestwood, TRC, it doesn't matter. Even if Orangeville was down by 27 points, this is just, that's a lot to ask for to come back in a game. And, you know, Rise Prep just play hard. They've been doing that all year long against all the great teams. And, you know, whether this game ends losing by 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, you have to be proud of the season you had. And, you know, just finish strong these final 9 minutes. Show why you're in this tournament and show why that, you know, people should understand that, you know, Rise Prep, that they're a team that may be looking forward into the next year, the year after that there's a strong future here.
Yeah, Rise Prep has a lot of young kids on their team. As a matter of fact, everyone is, not necessarily everyone coming back to Rise, but nobody in their class is moving on. Everyone is at least a 2021 here. So for Mario Celebri, if he gets most of these guys back next year, they're going to be a pretty formidable team. They're going to be one of the veteran teams in the OSBA as well.
Yeah, if most of these guys come back, you're talking about a team that has a full year of experience underneath them, and they played well this year, so you're only expecting these guys to get better, not worse. So maybe next year that Rise Prep can make even more noise than they did for this season. And, you know, they played strong those first 2 quarters. It was just Orangeville in that third just completely ran away with it. And we should mention the star, Matthew Alexander Moncrief. He was 5 for 11 from the field at the end of the first half. Now 11 for 18, 27 points, in just an unbelievable effort. And it's been kind of a collective team effort for Orangeville. A lot of guys in double digits.
And I think a lot of people forget about this kid right here, number 13, who's taking a 3-point shot off the mark there. But he right now is 4 for 9 from beyond the arc. And, you know, a lot of people forget about his performance in the finals last year. But in TRC's win over Thornley last year, this kid had 5 3-pointers in the game. And everyone thought, I was calling this game with Chris McKee last year, and everyone thought that, you know, me and him at least both thought that he should have been the MVP of the finals. But, of course, it went to Avon Nav, who's well-deserving. But, boy, oh boy, we saw the emergence of Lorenzo Downey last year in that final game.
And I think Orangeville just has a collective amount of guys that can just kind of get hot and provide a flurry of offense at any given time. We haven't heard Dyson Frank's names too much in this second half, but he was the X factor in that first half. He had all 10 of his points at the end of the second quarter, hit a couple big threes, really kind of gave Orangeville a boost when overall their offense was kind of struggling. So, you know, this Orangeville team is obviously a team that needs to be feared and needs to be respected, and MA is one of those guys that you have to respect every time.
I think it goes without saying about Matthew Alexander Moncrief. Every time he steps on the floor, no matter what league we're in, he's one of the best players.
Oh, wow.
Looks like Mario Celebri going to substitute his full starting 5 back into the game here. Maybe perhaps playing for pride now and giving these kids one last opportunity.
A well-earned opportunity as well. Whether the game is done for or not, this is the final game of the season. They earned the right to kind of finish this game on the court.
Matthew Alexander Moncrief is just dissecting this Rise Prep team, specifically inside the painted area. And that should be a charge here, and Cole Scott picks it up. And here we go, full 5 substitution coming in from Mario Celebri.
Number 4, Cole Scott. That's his second personal.
And what's so scary about Orangeville is MA has her over 30 points now, and the lead is 30. So even without him, they're in a tie game. They've just so much talent, and you know, I don't think they're a team that goes as far as their superstar because they have so much talent that even if MA only gets 15 to 20 in a game.
Only 15
Only
to
15 to 20, but that's kind of the level we expect them to get. Whether it's 10 points, 15 points, 20 points, or even 30 now, they're always going to be in a good position to win the game.
Bit of a stoppage in time here. Discussion with the refs. I think they're, wow, they're saying Rory Stewart has 5 fouls. Obviously, it takes 5 fouls in the OSBA to be fouled out, but when we got the scoreboard here, the personnel from the scorers table said that it says he has 5, but he only has 4. Interesting move there, I guess. Little miscommunication, and Rory Stewart is fouled out. Downey to DeVario. Lorenzo guarded by Mason Krause. Frank, strong drive inside, banks it in.
Dyson Frank.
Ochuti, Krause knifing through. Johnson gets held up that time. And they're going to call a foul on Orangeville.
Foul number 1, Darius Imperial. That's his 4th personal foul, team foul number 2.
Krause finds Kazadi up top. Mismatch on the floor. Blocking foul. DeVario's done that a couple times tonight.
That's the 5th foul on number 1, Darius. Team foul number 3.
And he's going to foul out now. And Coleman Stuka coming in the game now. 6:04 remaining in the 4th quarter, 91-59. Orangeville well in control of this game, despite being down a few players.
They've been well in control almost this entire season.
Good point, Joe.
Still haven't lost a game, and it looks like it's going to continue on to the 2nd round.
And Ochuti stepped out of bounds that time.
Orangeville ball.
Prentice calling out the half-court set here. Stuka. Downey loses the ball, regains it. Frank, step back. Dyson Frank showing off the handles for the big man. Johnson gonna let it fly. Too strong that time. Johnson going baseline. Nice find to Kazadi for 3. Jonah Kazadi. Well done that time by Johnson. And a timeout here. Tony McIntyre wants to talk it over. 5:20 remaining. You're watching the OSBA Final 8 High School Championships. Welcome back here. 5:20 remaining, 91-62. Orangeville all morning has been just the superior team here. And I don't think there's been a question about it. Downey. Krause playing good defense here. Behind the back. Downey somehow still getting to the rim and met by Kazadi.
Out of bounds. Orangeville ball with 2 seconds on the shot clock.
2 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Got to get a quick one here. Down low to Moncrief's got to put it up, and the shot clock violation. A rare turnover here tonight, Joe.
Yeah, that was one of the difference makers in that first half. It was 10-4 in favor of Rise in terms of the turnovers committed, and That was kind of one of those things that was keeping Orangeville kind of from extending the lead in the first half, and then in that third quarter, a ton of turnovers and a ton of mistakes kind of led to that essentially huge 30-point deficit.
Prentice to Downey. Great hesitation and misses the dunk. That's one he'd like to have back. MA, step back three, gets it to go. He'd obviously love to see that three-point shot improve. Only shooting about 27% this year from beyond the arc, but doesn't take a whole lot of them. Took under 30, so took under 30 this season, sorry. I think he knows his strengths, Joe. Strengths. Well,
Yeah,
I'm stumbling over my words.
It's something that you could obviously want to see him improve, but right now he clearly doesn't need it because he's still producing without it. But you know, that's just going to be the growth of the player. Free throws, three-point shooting. Obviously, it's not his strong points, but he's still so young and so much time to grow and develop as a better player that I think eventually that three-point shot will eventually become a little bit more consistent. He'll feel a little bit more confident with it. He'll start taking more of those threes, and
I don't think it's any secret to anyone nowadays that I think everyone knows that Matthew Alexander Moncrief is a slasher, and an elite one at that.
I think we might have seen the last of Matthew Alexander Moncrief for the day.
Well-deserved rest, and he's going to have a big semifinal game tomorrow, either against TRC or Father Henry Carr, and we know both those teams can present a number of problems for this heavily powered Orangeville team. Nigandu to inbound here. Just a reminder, coming up next, we got a great one for you. Crestwood Prep versus Bill Crothers, featuring 3 of the top 4 scorers in the OSBA. Maybe the most anticipated matchup of this first round.
I think it's definitely the one a lot of people circled on their calendars to know that that might be maybe the best game of the tournament. And we also have Central Tech and Lincoln Prep right after at 2 o'clock, and then we mentioned 4 o'clock TRC and FHC to close out the day.
Of course, tomorrow the men's semifinals will happen at 2 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the women's semifinals will happen at 10 a.m. and 12 in the afternoon.
Speaking of the women, just an incredible day yesterday. We saw that thriller at the end between King's Christian and Lincoln Prep, and
that was heartbreak yesterday for Lincoln Prep and
that was a
Nurse.
heartbreaker. It was a heartbreaker, but also exciting for King's Christian. We saw the 3 favorites in Capital Courts, Niagara Prep, and Crestwood win as well. So those semifinal matches are already set for 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Saturday.
Of course, if the women's finals is anything like it was last year, we're in good hands here. Of course, Crestwood ultimately capturing that title against Capital Courts, and there's a very good chance that could be the matchup again. Of course, Capital Courts will be taking on Niagara Prep tomorrow morning, and then Crestwood will take on King's Christian. Off-ball screen coming here. Dyson Frank, looks like the foul is on the floor. Oh, they're calling an offensive foul here. Looks like he lowered his shoulder.
Offensive foul at number 22, Dyson Frank. That's his first personal foul. Team foul number 5.
.239 remaining in game 1 of the men's quarterfinal here at the Coca-Cola Court at the Mattamy Athletic Center, the old Maple Leaf Gardens. Here's Eden Ochuti. Strong drive inside, gets held up. And a travel call on Eden that time.
Orangeville ball. Substitutions coming in for Orangeville. Number 5,
Mustafa Vanjov getting some action here. Not a lot of time, but obviously the lead is out of hand here with the final 2 minutes and some change here. It's good to see a kid like that get some time here at the end of the bench, getting some decent minutes. Sets a screen here. And Frank with the clear lane. Threw it down with 2 hands that time.
And it's good to see Dyson Frank have a strong fourth quarter here because his first and second quarter was kind of, it feels like it's been forgotten about, but like I said earlier, he deserves a lot of credit for this win today, because he was that guy who kind of led the charge in that first and second quarters. You see a rejection there.
Jeff with a big block that time. Mr. Nagandu, number 34, class of 2022. All 6'9" of him got all of that ball. Scott Ochuti, under 10 seconds in the shot clock. Craven looking to put it up there. Can't hit the mid-range Jimmy. Dunkley distant. Boy, I'll tell you, you're going to hear this kid's name for years to come, Jared Dunkley distant. He's got a brother as well at Athlete Institute. These kids are just getting started in their young basketball career. Dunkley distant, of course, class of 2024, the youngest player on this team. One of the youngest players in the OSBA.
He's got a long way to go.
He's got a long way to go, and if he's already getting these minutes here in the playoffs, expect him to perhaps be in the starting lineup next year, if not at least one of the focal points coming off the bench. Frank's got to put it up, fading away and getting the roll.
Right.
Craven lose the ball, but they're going to call a reach-in foul here. They're over the limit here, and Craven's going to get 2 free shots with 1:14 remaining.
We mentioned earlier, for Rise Prep, nothing to be ashamed of with the performance they had. They played tough those first 2.5 quarters, and then the game eventually just kind of fell away from them. And with 1:14 left on their season, nothing to be ashamed of. Should be proud of what they've done this year. And we talked about all these guys. They're not moving on.
Yeah.
They might not be on Rise Prep next year, but a lot of them we expect to still be here. And you know, a lot of signs that they'll grow and improve and be better, and maybe they'll make some more noise next season.
And a foul here on Eden Ochuti.
Foul on number 0, Eden Ochuti. That's his first personal foul, team foul number 3.
And on the flip side, just more of the same from Orangeville, just being impressively dominant.
It's another day at the office. But next round's going to be a lot tougher, and if they do make it to the finals, it'll be shot clock problem here.
The game clock will be reset to 1:06.
Jeff Nagandu looking to go to work down low, drop step, and a big basket there for Mustafa Vanjoff, and the whole bench gets off their seats for that one. Craven can't hit the long-range one. Clark comes down with the offensive board. Clark going to try his luck from beyond the arc, and he gets it to go from the corner. Dunkley distant to Downey. This will probably be the final shot here for Orangeville as he hits the 3. What else is new with this kid? Scott inside, travel call.
Violation, Orangeville ball.
About a 0.5 second difference between game clock and shot clock here.
A round of applause, everyone. As our next game will be Bill Crothers versus Crestwood Prep.
Looks like that'll do it here. 103-69. Orangeville taking care of business. Technically going to 20-0 on the year. 20 games up and 20 games down. Stay tuned for our next game. We got a good one. Crestwood Prep versus Bill Crothers. We'll be back in about 20 minutes or so. Stick around.